Well, if I can remember how to do everything, it would be great.
Hi, Kathy. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Hi there. There you are.
Sorry about that. I was clicking everything and trying to remember what to do.
Hey, we've got so many irons in the fire with this computer. It's hard to remember everything. So,
Yes. Well, I'll go ahead and put your first slide up.
all right. Okay, everybody. Hi, and welcome back. And to you newbies, welcome to the class. Today is our virtual cooking nutrition series, and the star of today's show is cauliflower. As you can see that nice, beautiful head of cauliflower there on the screen. I want to introduce myself. My name is Johnna Miller. I am an employee of Ohio State University through the Ross County Extension Office here in Ross County, and I work for a program called SNAP Ed. So few little things here on the screen I want to point out to you. Number one is the Celebrate Your Plate little logo down there in the corner. That is celebrateyourplate.org. That is a great website to go to. That is where I get a lot of recipes that I share during my class. They have a lot of good information on there, so check that site out, as well as the myplate.gov. That is the 5 food groups and the guidelines. It's based on the USDA food guidelines and how to get all 5 food groups into your diet. And it's all based on a 2,000 calorie diet a day. And again, that website is the myplate.gov. Got a lot of great recipes, a lot of great nutrition information there, a lot of games for the kids. You name it, it's got something on there for anybody who's looking at anything food related. So that's a really great website there. Okay, Kathy, if you want to go to my next slide there.
There you go.
All right, great. Just want to give you a few little pointers. Okay, cauliflower. Cauliflower is kind of a love it or hate it type veggie. I personally love it. I like it better raw than I do cooked, but I am learning to like it cooked because there's a lot of new different recipes out now that you can do with it. Today we're going to do a mashed cauliflower, and we're going to do a cauliflower tot, which is like a tater tot, but it's a cauliflower tot. Really good. So there's some general information about cauliflower itself. For 1 cup of raw cauliflower, it only has 25 calories. It has 3 grams of fiber. And then if you can look down that whole list of vitamins there, it's got your daily value percentages. It's got 77% in 1 cup of cauliflower of the vitamin C you need in your diet for a day, 20% of vitamin K, and on down through there. Folate, which is a vitamin that's very important to pregnant women. So you're getting 14% of your daily folate for a cup of cauliflower. The pantothenic acid, I can't say that, which is a vitamin B5. And then there's also the B6 listed there. You're getting good percentages on it. So it's a well-rounded, good way to get some needed nutrients into your diet. And then a lot of times I forget to tell you, I talk about getting all the fruits and vegetables in your diet. Well, how many veggies do we really need in our diet a day? And that amount can vary. It depends on your age, your gender, your level of physical activity. But if you shoot for between 1 and 3 cups a day of vegetables in your diet, you're going to hit the target of what the MyPlate model recommends. Obviously, younger kids, they should be getting at least 1.5 to 2 cups a day, and adults up to 3 cups a day, depending on how active you are. If you're like a triathlon athlete, you may want to get more in there, up to maybe 4 or 5 cups a day. So, but a good 1 to 3 cups a day. Try to lean heavier towards the 3, and you'll be good to go. All right, Kathy, if you want to go ahead and turn me on here, I will get this started. Like I said, our first recipe today is the cauliflower tots, and this will be in the chat section there. So Kathy will put that up. You'll be able to look that up after class. Our ingredients are, it says non-stick cooking spray, but I'm going to use parchment paper on my baking pan here, so I don't have to use the cooking spray. 2 cups of shredded cauliflower. It's about half of a medium head of cauliflower. 1 egg, which I've got here. 3 tablespoons of flour that I've already measured out, 1/4 cup of fat-free, low-fat cheddar cheese, and a little bit of black pepper, okay? So not a whole lot of ingredients, really simple to throw together. Now, a lot of people, when you see in a recipe, it calls for a floret. This is a floret of cauliflower. It's just one section broken off. Simple, easy, simple. I mean, you saw that big, beautiful head of cauliflower I had there on those 2 screens. So this is just a section broken off. Now, what I've got here in my bowl is some cauliflower that I put through my food processor to grind up. And I actually had this frozen. I freeze it up in 2-cup bags and throw it in the freezer. And that way, when I really, I'm ready to make these tots, all I got to do is take it out that morning, thaw it out. I got it ready, and then I can use it for my recipe. If you've got your fresh cauliflower, you can use any type of grater. I have this little hand grater here. You can just take it across there. You can use a box grater. Again, like I said, I use my food processor because I tend to do a lot of it at a time. That makes it a lot easier. But if you don't have all the gadgets, you could actually break this up by hand, but you want to get it in small pieces as possible. You could chop it with a knife if you had to. So anyway, now, as I said, I froze this, and when I chop this up, I lay it out on a cookie sheet, just like the one I showed you here. Throw it in the freezer, flash freeze it that way, take it out. If it's not frozen up in a big bunch, you can scoop it out and how much you need. So if you have a big bag of it and you only need a cup of cauliflower, you can take that cup and measure it out. I do always recommend, though, cauliflower, once you freeze it, has a pretty high water content. So once you freeze it, when you thaw it out, you want to kind of wring it out into a paper towel or something, get some extra moisture out of there, because all that extra moisture could affect your recipe. All right, so I got my 2 cups of cauliflower measured out here, and I've already got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm not spraying the baking sheet because I got my parchment paper on here. And the third step says to grate the cauliflower. I've already done that. I'm way ahead of the game on this recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my egg here. So just 1 egg. And I'm going to break that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add in my cheese, just a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese. You can use another type of cheese if you like. The recipe calls for cheddar, but make sure you're trying to use a low-fat version. And then this is just 3 tablespoons of just regular white flour, okay? You could use wheat flour, but it will change the taste of it a little bit because the wheat flour has got a little heavier taste to it. And then I'm just going to mix this all together. You want to make sure that you're getting, oh, wait a minute, I forgot one more ingredient. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, okay? Now you'll notice there's no salt added in this. There is quite a bit of salt in the cheese, so that's going to give it a salty flavor. But I would recommend, you can always salt and season that way to taste after you've already got them all baked up. You can just put a little bit of salt on them before you serve them. All right, so you can see how it just makes like a paste. It's like a cauliflower paste, and you want to make sure you got your egg evenly distributed in there. Okay, now I'm going to bring my baking sheet over here, and like I said, you can use the cooking spray and spray just the baking sheet if you don't want to use parchment paper, or you can use foil instead of parchment paper. I like the parchment paper and the foil method because it makes cleanup so much easier. So now I'm just going to take this by tablespoons. I just have a regular serving spoon here, and I'm just going to put this in little mounds on my baking sheet, kind of scooch them together. Try to keep them uniform in size, because if you have big ones and little ones, they may not cook consistently. So you want to make sure that you keep them pretty much the same size, okay? All right. And these are, like, you saw how fast that went together. Now, if you got your cauliflower already grated up, that really makes it go fast. That's the reason I tend to freeze mine up, because I always am a big person on cutting time off everything. I want to make sure I got dinner on the table without a whole lot of effort, within a reasonable time. I'm kind of lazy that way. I'll admit it. Okay, and this should make up at about probably 18 to 20 tots. Now, I will tell you, I've made these before. My husband's not a big cauliflower fan, but this turned out to be one of his favorites of all these recipes that I make. All right. Looky there. Just about perfect. Fill my pan up. How's that for perfect? Just a little more to that one. And you might have to go back through, and if they fall apart a little bit, kind of just scooch them up a little bit. Of course, I washed my hands before I started this. Okay. All right. So get them all scooched up. Let me rinse my hand off here real quick. And now I'm just going to pop these into a 400-degree oven. And it takes about 20 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. All right, so there's that. Let me get this out of the way. So our next recipe is going to be a twist on an old favorite. Instead of mashed potatoes, we're going to make mashed cauliflower. Okay. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't taste like mashed potatoes, but you can serve it with a dish, and it will serve that purpose if you have someone who is really like diabetics are having to watch their starch intake. Their sugars are in potatoes. So you can use the cauliflower because it's way lower as far as starches. Now, to cook my cauliflower, I had my head and I broke it up into my florets, okay? And the best way to cook it for this is to do it in a double boiler. Well, believe it or not, with all the cooking gadgets I have, and I know some people would find this pretty hard to believe, I don't have a double boiler. So what I did is I took just a regular Dutch oven pan here. I put some water in the bottom of it and used my colander, put my cauliflower in there, and I steamed it, okay? And it's best to steam this cauliflower to do this because, again, you want to watch that moisture level. If you have a whole lot of moisture in your cauliflower, it's going to make it runny, okay? So you want to try to make sure that you are getting keeping as much moisture out of it. Now, if you do boil it, you want to make sure you drain it really well. So you use that same colander that I had there. Let it set for a while, let all that liquid drain off of it, and make sure you get as much out of it as you can. All right, so I've turned on my skillet over here because we're going to take a head or a clove of garlic, and I'm going to, what do I do with my garbage bowl here? I'm going to peel this piece of garlic here up real quick, get the skin off of it. And you can, if you don't have garlic on hand, you could always replace this in the recipe with about, I'd say probably about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. A lot of times too, I try to keep those jars of already pre-minced garlic in my refrigerator because they come in handy. Garlic, I'll tend to forget about it sometimes and it'll go bad. So if I have that already in the refrigerator diced up, I don't have to worry about my garlic going bad on me. And then you want to mince your garlic. That means you want to cut it in itty bitty, teeny tiny, itty bitty pieces as much as possible. I almost had water on my burner. It's over there hissing at me. So you start by cutting it up into little chunks, and then you're just going to get it in a pile and rock your knife through it. Just hold on to the end of it. Keep your fingers back out of the way. See, I'm not holding down close to the blade. Scrape it together and rock your knife through it. You want to mince it so you're getting as much of the juices flowing out of this garlic because you want this to go into, we're going to put this into some oil, which we're going to add into our cauliflower, which is really going to bring that garlic flavor to the top. So you'll be able to taste it, give it a little extra oomph to your mashed cauliflower. Now this is a good side dish to have. I mean, you can even put gravy on this if you'd like. But just be careful if whatever you're going to use, you may want to leave the garlic out sometimes if you're going to use a really spiced gravy. Okay, so I'm going to measure out about a tablespoon of olive oil into my heated skillet here. And then I'm just going to take my cutting board over here and I'm going to scrape my garlic into my skillet. And it's already starting to sizzle just a little bit. And we're going to let that cook you don't want to get it brown. You just want to get it so it's cooking up and getting a nice, not kind of a caramel flavor, but you don't want to get it to the point where it's burning. Garlic will burn really quick, so you have to be careful. Okay. Get this over here out of the way. The other ingredients that we're putting into this is some Parmesan cheese, which I've already measured out, 1/4 cup, 2 tablespoons of low-fat cream cheese, and I already used the olive oil to brown the garlic up in. All right, that's cooked up pretty quick, so I'm going to turn that off really quick. And my cauliflower is already, like I said, pre-cooked. Now, I will tell you, to get this to a nice smooth consistency like a mashed potato, you'd be better off to use an electric mixer. But for sound, as far as the video, it's a lot better if I don't. I just use a regular potato masher here. All right, so I've got my cheese. my sour cream. Not sour cream, my cream cheese. I'm doing the wrong thing here. And then my browned garlic and oil. And my spatula. I lost my spatula. I'm going to put that in there. That smells good. Not y'all, but I love me some garlic. And then I'm just going to mash this just like you would mashed potatoes. Okay? And this is a good job for the kids because it really sometimes requires some muscle work. And like I said, it does work out better if you use an electric mixer because you'll be able to get this a lot smoother than what you can with a potato masher. But you can't hear me talk when I'm running a mixer. Okay, now I'm going to add in about 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. And then about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And just keep mixing. Okay, now like I said, they're a little chunky, but they're not too awful bad there. And since I did have this set down a little bit, I will pop these back in the microwave. And what I'll do before I eat these tonight for dinner, I will put the mixer through them, smooth them out, and it'll make a nice addition to any table. You could use, if you don't like the Parmesan cheese, you could use a Swiss cheese in here. You could add in, some seasoning. You could put in some chives. You can do anything just to flavor it up a little bit more. These could be, they're pretty versatile. You can do just about anything with them, okay? All right, let's check on our tots over here. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to make you wait around while they do the whole 20 minutes, but you're going to be able to see they're already cooking up and setting up. They kind of look like little haystacks in my mind, but these things are super duper good. They're a really good alternative to tater tots. They go really well as far as any side dish you would normally do a French fry for. These work as a great replacement. So I'm going to put these back in the oven. My husband, like I said, really likes those, so he's going to have those for dinner tonight, along with whatever else jumps out of the refrigerator at him. Okay, guys, I think that pretty much covered it.
Well, good. They do look good.
Those tater tots or cauliflower tots are really good. That's one of my favorite recipes. And that does come from the Celebrate Your Plate website. So they have a lot of quick things on there. And as I said, if you shred up that cauliflower early, it takes you 3 minutes to whip them up together and throw them in the oven, and you got dinner. That's just as quick as a bag of frozen French fries.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so much better for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody that. Don't tell the kids that, okay?
Well, thank you, Johnna. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I will be back next week. I'm not real sure what we're doing with the kids next week. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll be back same place, same time next week. Okay. And we'll look at some other recipes, and I hope to see you all back here. Okay. Well, it was good to see you, and I'll see you again next week. All right, Kathy. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.